Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? Father Mook back here with another video. Today we are going to be talking about the Smuggler Pass, the introduction of the Season 1 content, the boss, the Pestilence fleet, the 3 different tiers you can go down to get yourself some stuff. Now I know there's a lot of controversy right now with what they released and such in the Battle Pass. So I guess the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pull it up and we're just gonna have a look and see, what they've given us here. So as you can see on the screen, up at the top, you've got your tabs for your map, your helm map, your cargo. On the far left, that skull is your Smuggler Pass, Smuggler's Pass, whatever you want to call it, Booty Pass. So we get a new ship. We get a new ship once you get 45 tokens for this. So basically how it works is they've broken it up into 3 different trees you can go down. Quartermaster, Gunnermaster, and Shipmaster. So a couple things to note. Number 1, first of all, the biggest thing. With the addition of Season 1, obviously we have La Peste, Philippe La Peste, the boss, and his crew and his cronies, his armada, also known as the Fleet of Pestilence. They are thick. They come after you when you pick up your pieces of 8, when you have a Plaguebringer head. So there are 3 different types of ships that I've seen so far that are part of his fleet. 4 actually, but there's 3 main ones, excluding himself, La Peste himself. So number 1, there are the little guys in the dhows that come after you, and basically they're suicide bombers. They drive into your ship. They're dangerous. They're dangerous as heck. They're easy to kill, but they will like half HP you if you don't see them coming. Dangerous. Number 2 is the broadsider type ship. It looks like a large ship. Not exactly sure what it is. They're annoying. They're tanky. But they're killable. It's just time consuming. They don't do a terrible amount of damage, but the amount of damage you do to them is not overly high, even with the best weapons. There is a strat I can teach you guys, a couple different things we could talk about to get rid of those guys quickly. And then there is, as well, the 3rd ship. It's a Bidar, the little Bidar ship called Plaguebringers. And they're the guys, once you sink them, you can take the head, bring it back to the fine gentleman standing on the dock in St. Anne's. I think his name is Blackwood or something. I can't remember. I'm not going to get into all the little details, like names and stuff. But so basically, what I would recommend that you do is go down the Quartermaster one first, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I think it's got the coolest cosmetics. Like I think these ones that they did here, like it's almost like Davy Jones kind of vibes with the ship cosmetics. That's all fine and good. No idea why water barrels are on here. We're not going to talk about the negatives though. So basically, at level 20 in the Quartermaster, what you're going after in the Quartermaster tier is La Potence schematics. I think that this is going to make a difference for everybody. The second you have this, changes everything for you. So what this allows you to do is see the weak points, the little red areas, the critical damage areas on La Potence itself, like his ship, Philippe La Peste's flagship, the big bad one, as well as all of his armada ships, the little ones, the big ones, every one of them. You also increase damage to weak points to enemy ships by 10%. I think that's just across the board to all enemy ships. And it also reveals the weak points on the Fleet of Pestilence. This makes such a big difference if you're somebody who likes to use the ballista, somebody who likes to use long guns. Now these guys they're apparently resistant to blaze, like fire. They're also resistant to tearing. They're also resistant to flooding. This does not mean that you shouldn't still stack it on them, however. You should stack as much stuff on these guys as you can, however your builds are, whatever your builds are made out to be. We could talk about a few builds in a few minutes here. But number 1, I think the most important thing, if you're somebody who's struggling right now with the Fleet of Pestilence, the guys that are coming after you, get this as quickly as possible, and it will help you. It'll help you more than the armor, because those guys that come after you, like for example down here in Shipmaster, which is the second one I'm recommending you go after, and you do what you want, right? You do what you want, but this armor will protect you against the gas that that La Peste throws at you. But his lower level cronies don't use the gas against you unless you're you've maxed out your notoriety and you've got 4 skulls while you're cruising around. If you kill enough of them, there will be somebody named the Prince, a Plague Prince, that comes after you. He's almost like a mini boss. You'll know it's him when you see the green smoke coming from the top of his mast where the crow's nest is. This man will also drop very good things for you. So we're going to touch on that in a minute. This is the second item that you're going to want to get, in my opinion, if you're somebody who wants to fight La Peste himself. You don't need it to fight his cronies. You need it to fight him if you want to make it, if you want to do as best as possible. So, like I said, in the first one here, Quartermaster, there's a bunch of great cosmetics, some good items and all that, but what you're after is this, La Potence Schematics. It'll help you so much going forward with this season. You're gonna want that. Number 2, the armor that protects you against the gas that La Peste shoots. That's a big one. Not necessary. I've killed La Peste a bunch of times without it. I didn't focus this one. I wanted the schematics because I wanted to blast those guys so I can get my 8s, not make it a chore, and Also, if you don't want to see those guys as much, do not keep the severed head of a plague bringer on your ship. That will automatically increase the threat generation for them, and they will start coming after you. And they will not stop coming after you until you remove that head from your ship. You can put them in your warehouse. You could sell it to the guy at the dock. You need a bunch of them for your for the battle pass completion quest anyway. So here's another bunch of. Here's the other set right here, Gunnermaster. Now this is where you get the weapon that they are featuring. The Carronade. It looks good. I have no idea what it's going to be like yet. I have not used it. We'll probably do a video on it when I unlock it. However, it is going to take time for people to get through all of these because it's a bit of a grind. Now there are rules to this completion. So I say the Gunnermaster for me personally is the least important because my guns are good right now. My build is kind of maxed out minus the Carronade and the armor, which I don't have yet. But now that I have the schematics, I'm laughing. I'm laughing in this battle pass. Okay, so moving on to the rules. This video is basically an all-in-one about the battle pass, how to grind it. How to level up quickly if you're somebody that has a limited amount of time, because this game demands a lot of time from you. So you see on the top right of the screen, we've got smuggler points, 953 out of 1,000. Earn smuggler points by gaining infamy or completing challenges. I feel like this is something that people don't know yet. You don't just have to do the challenges to get smuggler points. Your infamy that you get, sinking whoever you want, doing whatever you want, directly translates to the smuggler points. Now, once you have 1,000 smuggler points, you get a smuggler token thing. I'm not sure what they're called. And then you take this token and you go down here and you can go to the first tab or whatever one you want to go down and you just click. These do not stack. So like on level 21, if I wanted to get the crow's nest, I would pay 1 more marks. That's what they're called, smuggler's marks. So after 1,000 points, smuggler points, I get 1 mark. And then with that mark, I can buy a tier of whatever tree I want. But if I wanted to buy, 5 ahead of where I currently am, it'll cost me 5 marks. Or 4, or 3, or 2, etc. So that's pretty straightforward. However, doesn't really scream it out and tell you that you don't just have to do the challenges, because the challenges, as we're going to move on to right now, seem pretty overwhelming. Now, these are meant to do, the wave ones are meant to do over the course of 30 days. So you can take your time with those, but the weekly ones are something you're going to want to do if you want to maximize the amount of smuggler points and stuff that you get throughout the course of the battle pass. You don't want it to stack up on you, and then the last week, oh my god, look at all these challenges I still have to do, and you're not done with the rewards yet. So these are pretty straightforward. 15 contracts for the job board. They can be found in St. Anne's or Talak Penjara, the blue board with the little exclamation mark. 3 contracts for William Blackwood. He's the gentleman standing on the dock in St. Anne's. I believe his quests are on cooldowns. I've done a couple of them, but not all of them. They're not all up right away. I feel like it's the same kind of cooldown you get with your other quests in the game, like the Sea Monster and the Ghost Ship, yada yada. Complete 6 merchant convoys, straightforward. Cook 50 food, deal damage, straightforward. This is where it gets a little tricky. It's really pushing group play. 8 plunders in a group. I'm not really sure why they put the bark and crafting the whatever one it was called there, the La Potence schematics, which I've completed. So on the right side you can see I've completed 5 of them with the check mark. But it, you know, it's what we got to work with. So we'll get some more next week. We'll get some more in 30 days once this is up. 88 days remaining in the season, so we're going to get more wave challenges, if you will, which is what these are called. So where was I here? All right, so how to grind this? Like, how do you grind this? Well, there's a few different ways. Just by playing the game, by shooting a bunch of ships, doing killing the bosses, your infamy, gaining infamy. Infamy is the most important thing, not these. These get you large chunks, and I would focus these as you go. But like your infamy, for example, here we are in the helm, right? So you go over here to your order registry, and I'm sure some of you know how this works, but I'm sure maybe some of you don't, so we'll go over it real quickly. I got a couple minutes left here. So basically these are orders. You're going to need to bring Gold Skull Gin, like it says on the screen, or Black Snuff, or White Skull Rum to this location, the Necropolis, for a payout of 122 or 126 pieces of 8. What you can do is accept all of these if you're crazy enough. Each one that you accept, it'll say underneath where it says Gold Skull Gin, it'll say a small fleet of worms, devotees of flaming weapons, will be on your tail. That's a fleet of worms that will come after you. Another fleet of worms, a fleet of gannets, a fleet of worms, orcas. Now these are the rogue ships that come after you. They're not that hard to kill. The sharpshooters do damage, but once you get to know how to take them down quickly, they give you 160 to 170 infamy a ship, and they do not stop coming. If you accept these orders and go hang out somewhere in the sea, they will just keep coming after you. And if you don't have any Pestilence heads, or whatever they're called, Plaguebringer heads on your ship, the Pestilence fleet will leave you alone. La Peste people have nothing to do with your helm orders. The rogues will come after you, unless you have a ship, unless you have pieces of 8 on board, or unless you have a severed head from one of the crewmates on board. So I could do a video showing how much this actually generates, but like, you gotta be careful with how many of these you accept, because it's another fleet of ships that will come after you. So test it out for yourself. Go on one, accept 1 or 2, and go hang out in the sea. They will start coming after you. You will start sinking them. But not only do they drop.
It's not easy to make, but it's worth it.
Sorry, guys. Not only do they drop silver chests and stuff, they also drop helm materials, helm raw materials, poppies, sugarcane. They drop ammunition. They drop uncut gems. So it's nice. They drop like other loot as well that you can sell for silver, that you're always going to need anyway. So, and like I said, the infamy that you get from sinking ships, like this way, the ships come to you this way. Like you could just hang out in the sea wherever you want. You may be somewhere near where you have to go, like the Necropolis. Those rogues will keep coming and coming and coming. You will sink them for 160, 170 infamy a pop, and they're not elite. They're not elite by any way, by any means, right? It's not like you're taking down an elite captain for 500 infamy. You could take down 4 of these guys, and that's more. That's more than taking down one of the elite captains. So I would say if you want to grind this, spend your time kind of abusing the fact that the rogues come after you on standard ordered missions, and they don't stop coming after you until you complete the order.